Matt Bebermeyer,
Hi, friend.
how are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so good I get to see your face.
I know it's been too long. So, thank you for being willing to record an interview about dance in Lansing and the Community Dance Project and all of that.
hmm
So, for people who don't know you, could you just start out by giving everybody a little context about who you are?
Sure. My name is Matt. I founded Community Dance Project in February of 2004, a long time ago. And I'm a longtime dancer in the community, and that's the summarized version of who I am. There's so many more things that make me me.
It's true, you're a multifaceted,
I'm like
complex.
I'm like a diamond.
You are absolutely priceless. Um, so, I remember living in Phoenix, Arizona in, the early 2000s. And we were good friends then. And we used to talk even though we lived far away. And I remember you talking about that you had this idea to have a showcase in the studio and then, just hearing the report about how it went and how many people came and how you did it. And that turned into Community Dance Project, which turned into Dance Lansing. Can you tell us, first of all, what was that process like that brought you to this decision that you needed to start this event?
Well, yeah. Um, what's interesting is that you were involved in the impetus for this uh, concert showcase workspace. Um, and I was just thinking about this as we did the other shortened interview, and you asked me how it started and how it came about, and I was reminded that it came out of a place that where I was, that I needed a workspace for choreography, a space where I had the freedom to experiment and the freedom to do whatever I wanted to do and not have to fit it into already existing show. So it wasn't like a guest choreographer for a show that already existed, and I needed to fit it into like a certain time frame. I have 3 minutes. Um, and so you were involved in that. I choreographed a piece for a show at LCC. I think it was a spring show. And you kept telling me to pull up my pants. And I said, it's part of the choreography. I want my pants to be down. Because I had a loose belt and I was young and I needed to scream censorship. So then it got more serious, and I decided that, yeah, actually, I do want a workspace. I do want something that I can build stuff. And so from there, it turned into this whole concept of I really want to showcase modern dance and kind of explain what modern dance is. And I don't know, demystify it was the term that I used at the time when I was talking to Diane Newman, co-founder of Happy Dance, when we decided that she was going to help me host it. And so that was a really fun evolution. There were some fantastic conversations, and I was so excited to tell you all about it when it happened. So
Yeah, I remember being just so excited to hear the things you were evolving things back in my hometown with the way you were thinking and working and trying new things. And to have a space where no one else can tell you how it's supposed to look or what it's supposed to be. You're the creator. You're in charge.
mhm. And
So
supporting that supporting other people in that space, I think, is just fantastic. to be able to create a space not only for yourself, but then to make a space for other people that you didn't know existed, because now someone says, oh, I also need that opportunity. I also want to be part of that. You know, the first show was like pulling teeth, trying to get people involved because nobody knew, but then, you know, it evolved into this huge thing, which is fantastic.
Although if the summer of 2020, the kind of COVID quarantine summer, and it has had to evolve yet again.
Mm-hmm.
I know none of us have seen what the virtual event looked like yet, but can you tell us what your thoughts are about that?
So many thoughts. I think it's horrible that this pandemic has forced a different kind of creativity. We're not creating completely for the love of creation. We're also now creating to be seen in a new type of venue. So previously we had our space of, you know, we have a stage, or we have a festival or a conventional performance space. And now we're creating something for ourselves as dancers and as makers, where, you know, we have to look outside the box. And we have this fantastic platform, social media, and we're in this digital age where we have a venue, and we just need to find how we're going to use it. And so I think Community Dance Project, Quarantine 2020 version, I think it's exciting to see how that can still serve people and still serve the community that need that outlet.
Can we go back in time for a minute? Will you tell us more about the first event?
Did I? Yes. Yes. This is the flyer. It just happens, I just happen to have this sitting in my lap for no particular reason. Yeah, it was fantastic. It's interesting because the whole concept of it was to show modern dance and simplify it for a viewer who is not familiar with it. And then the name that I came up with for the very first show was Murobata Neotericum, which, what? Nobody knows what that is. It's dancing of the mind, internal dancing of the mind or something. I went the other direction.
That's okay. So you had, I believe,
other than rambling, we had 5 choreographers, and I asked them to explain where their work and their inspiration came from, what their choreographic process, what that was like for them. And so we would see the format and be able to see how the work evolved and hear them speak about it. So I think we had a total of 8 dancers to begin with, and it was tiny. We had 20 people crammed into one of the larger studios at Happen Dance, and we crammed in some lights. It was very, very hot in a small studio.
Do you remember a few of the names of the people that were involved?
Yes, I do. Kelly Harris, who I believe was the artistic director at the time. Allison Wallachevich, she was the co-director. Roberta Otten Mason, who was a long time professional member of Happen Dance. She was actually my very first dance teacher, by the way. Yeah, I think that, I'm sure there was somebody else, but I don't remember. which is horrible of me because I'm sure I'm very good friends with them.
Well, the person that helped you make the flyer, was she part of it?
Ooh, yes. Good cue. Emily Upson, who is now Emily Liebtag. Yes. She was a very important part, actually. She wrote down all of the choreography as it came out of my head because I had a horrible time um, writing things down as I do it. So going back, so that's part of my process. And she was there to write everything down and be my brain. And that flyer came out of like an all-night hangout session and cutting things out of magazines. So that was fun.
Can you tell us, how did LCC enter in? When did that happen?
So LCC, okay, so let's back up. The first 3 years of Community Dance Project were studio showcases. And then it dawned on me that it needed to expand for community involvement to actually make it sustainable and make it something that everybody could get something out of. So I reached out to Lansing Community College. Peggy Gray was the chair at the time, and they had a dance club. I don't know if it still exists, maybe. And I don't know who was in charge of the dance club at the time, but I approached them and they were interested in being involved, and I think there were 20 of them. So it exploded in size, and that's how LCC got involved. They were gracious enough to allow us to have some performance space, and that was a donation on their part. So that was great. We started getting other people in, and as it evolved, it was kind of this idea that community members and dance organizations would participate, and we would all pool resources and get together and share dancers, and dancers danced with other people, and there was just this idea of this conversation that we could have and expand the dance community.
And I remember one of the cool things that happened were that like people from out of state started taking notice, and one of those people was Dr. Juanita Suarez from the State University of New York at Brockport, and she's one of the leading Chicana dance scholars in the world, and she's actually from Lansing. She went to, she grew up on Leslie Street, which is the same street that Diane Newman lives on, and she went to the Allen Street School, and I live on Allen Street. Anyway, I ended up sitting next to her on a plane after an NDEO, National Dance Education Organization conference, and that was crazy. It was like, oh, hi, where are you from? What do you do? And it was like, oh, we're both dance people, and I live in your hometown in the same neighborhood where you grew up. Anyway, and so she was like, so what is this, Dance Lansing? And just talking to her on the plane the first time I met her, she was like, well, I'm definitely coming to see that. I'm definitely, and then she was quoted, she did come. She came 2-3 years in a row, and the last time she came, she brought 2 grad students with her, and she presented. She set a giant work on Dance Lansing dancers about migrant communities, and they got to perform it at the Wharton Center. The Wharton Center produced that, and I remember her saying, in dance academia, we've been struggling to figure out how to be more embedded in our communities. And the best example of community embeddedness I've ever seen anywhere in this country is right here in Lansing, this Dance Lansing community dance project that you all are doing. And I just felt like
That's fantastic.
Yeah, this is a big deal. This doesn't really exist very many other places. And so the fact that we are able to do something virtual this summer is something I'm really grateful for. I was worried that we were just not going to do it, you know, that people just
Right.
were over it and that we would have to rebuild it later. But I'm really grateful that we got to have a virtual version of it. And yet again, I think it shows that the model that you created is completely adaptable to serve the needs of the community at the time. And that's super rare.
I think it's right. It's super fantastic that the community wanted to support something, like, because it's community run. Like it serves whatever the community needs at the time, and I think that's fantastic that that's what it's evolved into.
Do you have any other thoughts about the
Oh
arts
no,
community?
but we could talk forever.
I know we totally could. Well, thank you again for talking on camera about this, and thank you for gifting it to the world in the first place. And yeah,
Of course, I love it, and I love you.
I love you too. And I hope maybe we can, in my dreams, we dance together in the future.
Oh my God, I have things floating around back here that I need to get out, which is...
Can't do what I used to be able to do, but I can still move a little.
Oh, neither can I, but that's the fun of it.
Yes. Because
Adaptability.
it adapts. Yes.
Adaptability.
Yes, it adapts. All right, Matt. Thank you again. Until next time.
Mwah.
Mwah.